profusion, even extravagance and exuberance within the confines of the utmost linear severity are Vita Sackville-West's own words to describe what has become one of the most internationally famous gardens of the last century. In 1930, Harold Nicolson and his wife Vita bravely and ambitiously bought the badly deteriorated Sissinghurst Castle. He was the meticulous designer and she the plants woman. He was strictly classical in taste, she poetical and romantic. The result is a most beautiful garden of strict formal design and joyously abundant planting. In the first 2 years of ownership, they made a complete plan of the garden, which was never basically altered. Every planting was recorded and carefully dated. Each year after planting, every tree was measured to the inch and recorded. Now, more than 90 years later, this couple's vision of a truly English garden is realised and enjoyed every summer by visitors from around the world, seeing the perfection of the famous White Garden. The profusion of lovely old roses billowing through trees and over walls, the Nuttery carpeted in primroses and polyanthus, the spring bulbs in the lime walk, known as the Spring Garden, the decorative wild garden in the orchard. It is wonderfully conserved by the National Trust, whose most recent project has been the reimagining and restoration of Delos. This part of the garden was inspired by Harold and Vita's love of Greece and has been redesigned and planted under the sympathetic and creative eye of award-winning designer Dan Pearson and head gardener Troy Scott Smith. The site of Sissinghurst is ancient and has been occupied since at least the Middle Ages. The present-day buildings began as a house built in the 1530s by Sir John Baker. In 1554, Sir John's daughter Cecily married Thomas Sackville, 1st Earl of Dorset, an ancestor of Vita Sackville-West. By the 18th century, the Bakers' fortunes had waned, and the house, renamed Sissinghurst Castle, was leased to the government to act as a prisoner of war camp during the 7 Years' War. The prisoners caused great damage, and by the 19th century, much of Sir Richard House had been demolished. In the mid-19th century, the remaining buildings were in use as a workhouse, and by the 20th century, Sissinghurst had declined to the status of a farmstead. In 1928, the castle was advertised for sale but remained unsold for 2 years. Sissinghurst Castle at Sissinghurst in the Weald of Kent was created by Vita Sackville-West, poet and writer, and her husband Harold Nicolson, author and diplomat. It was bought by Sackville-West in 1930, and over the next 30 years, working with and later succeeded by a series of notable head gardeners, she and Nicolson transformed a farmstead of squalor and slovenly disorder into one of the world's most influential gardens.
So you're going around, this is Vita Sackville-West's, or what was their sort of law, their importance. Yes? This is a real good classic from horticultural.
In 1930, after she and Nicolson became concerned that their home Long Barn was threatened by development, Sackville-West bought Sissinghurst Castle. On purchasing Sissinghurst, Sackville-West and Nicolson inherited little more than some oak and nut trees, a quince and a single old rose. Sackville-West planted the Noisette Rose, Madame Alfred Carrière, on the south face of the south cottage even before the deed to the property had been signed. Following Sackville-West's death in 1962, the estate was donated to the National Trust. The gardens contain an internationally respected plant collection, particularly the assemblage of old garden roses. The writer Anne Scott James considered the roses at Sissinghurst to be one of the finest collections in the world. A number of plants propagated in the gardens bear names related to people connected with Sissinghurst or the name of the garden itself. The garden design is based on axial walks that open onto enclosed gardens termed garden rooms, one of the earliest examples of this gardening style. Among the individual garden rooms, the White Garden has been particularly influential, with the horticulturalist Tony Lord describing it as the most ambitious of its time, the most entrancing of its type. Vita Sackville-West was a prolific, successful and prize-winning author. She wrote novels, novellas, poetry collections, short stories, children's books, biographies, histories, travel guides and books on gardening. She is also a regular columnist for the Observer newspaper. She was born in 1892 and grew up at Knowle, a stately home near Sevenoaks in Kent. Her father was the third Baron Sackville. Though an only child, Vita's sex prevented her from inheriting the family home at Knowle. She married the British diplomat and author Harold Nicolson in 1913, and they had 2 sons. Nicolson was largely responsible for planning the garden design, while Sackville-West undertook the planting. Over the next 30 years, working with her head gardeners, she cultivated some 200 varieties of roses and large numbers of other flowers and shrubs. Decades after Sackville-West and Nicolson created a garden where none was, Sissinghurst remains a major influence on horticultural thought and practice. The buildings scattered around the site were converted to become an unconventional home. Part of the long brick gatehouse range from Sir John Baker's construction of 1533 became the library or big room. The tower gatehouse, dating from Richard Baker's rebuilding in 1550 to 1570, became Sackville-West's sitting room, study and sanctuary. The priest's house was home to their sons Ben and Nigel and held the family dining room, while the south cottage housed their bedrooms and Nicholson's writing room. Sissinghurst Castle Garden's legacy lies in its innovative design and enduring influence on garden design, particularly its garden rooms concept and the iconic white garden. It's also a testament to the vision of Vita Sackville-West and Harold Nicolson, who transformed a derelict Elizabethan mansion into a world-renowned horticultural masterpiece. The garden's history, from its medieval origins to its modern-day role as a National Trust property, is a rich tapestry of human endeavour and natural beauty.